I am off to work right now, but tonight after work I am going to be heading to Montreal. So right now I'm in Naomi's studio and I bought some yarns from her. And can you tell me about them?
Well, there's some really good choices. So you got two of my merino fingering, which is 100% merino, but it's spun like a sock yarn, so I quite like it for that. It would be perfect for garments and things. It doesn't have that single ply fuzziness. But what I really am excited about is this Humble Eco, I call it. It's a ecologically sound, let's say, blend of merino and Corriedale from Peru. So it's a cruelty-free, non-mulesing source, and it's not superwash treated. So that means it's not bleached and coated in polymer to smooth out the fibers to prevent felting. It does mean you can't stick it in the washing machine. It also means it just has such a lovely, true, woolly, rustic handle that I feel is deservedly coming back to the fore in the knitting community these days. But it's a fun one to try dyeing on because superwash treated yarns take dye a lot better. They're a lot more reliable to dye, they're a lot easier to dye with the acid dyeing method that most indie dyers use. Superwash speckles especially spread a lot. They can look muddy in the skein, but they actually knit up still very beautifully. So part of the challenge is sort of hopping ahead to visualize what it would look like knit up. But I also just love the challenge of experimenting with different bases.
That sounds good. And can you tell me about some of the inspirations behind these colors?
Behind these colors. So this is amble. This is one of my favorite colors from a number of bases. Basically all of my colors and names especially come from nostalgia and personal memories, which is leading on from my thesis work last year about how nostalgia can inform emotional design to create a better bond between ourselves and our clothing, but also a stronger identity within our families, within our friendship groups, within the communities we make for ourselves, about crafting and clothing and how we reinforce our identity through what we choose to put on our bodies and how we choose to go about acquiring clothes, whether it's buying or making or thrifting or swapping or anything. So with that in mind, amble really takes me back to those really beautiful, cold, crisp winter mornings when the sky is like almost bleached blue and you've got the trees standing out so stark against the sky and last couple leaves falling down all brown and crisp on the ground. And the town of Amble is near where my granny spent her evacuation years during the war, and we go back there a lot as a family. It's in the northeast of England, and that side of my family, they taught me to knit. They informed very much of my values growing up and today. And so when I think of what does nostalgia trigger for me, very much anything in that. All of the memories I have basically come back to that part of the world. So that's where amble comes from, and I like talking about it because I feel like it's one of my most successful yarns at getting at what this project aims at, that triggering of nostalgia and identity creation and creation of meaning through that.
Yeah, and I could definitely feel that. It was one of the colors that really caught my attention when you posted about it. And I like the fact that you do share kind of the stories behind a lot of your work, and it.
Yeah, I feel it's important to me. I'm on a constant quest when as I feel you have to be whenever a market or an area is quite busy, and it's amazing to see so many indie dyers starting up. It's such a great thing to be able to do, so creative, and you can just do it out of your kitchen or out of a little studio space like I have here, and you can really reach people and connect with people about it because we put so much of our creativity and effort into knitting, and it's so great to form those connections with people when you're producing the yarn and then you see the beautiful things that they're making. So it's fantastic that there are so many indie dyers and so many different creative spaces, but I also want to make my own voice within that when there are so many other people doing this. So that's what I'm trying to do through really thinking about what these colors mean to me and what they can communicate to other people. These two, this is one of the non-superwash eco base. So I've been experimenting also with taking the bases from my speckles and just doing them as solids. So several of my solids are actually the same as the speckle bases, just without the speckles. And I was sort of experimenting with that more at the beginning of trying these non-superwash yarns, because speckling is quite tricky on them. So this is the same base as this. This is called Sunshine Daisies Buttermellow. I was, continue the poem, I'm sure everybody knows. I was really trying to think of like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this trigger for me? What memory comes up when I look at this? And it's just such a yellow, and I just kept thinking of the scene in Harry Potter when Ron and Harry meet for the first time, and Ron starts a spell and Hermione comes in, she's like, oh, you're doing magic, and it's like this really crucial moment in a book and series that has had a lot of meaning for me throughout my life. Not the most meaningful thing in my life, of course, but Harry Potter just means so much to so many different people in different ways. It's just a constant through my childhood from age of about 7. So I grew up with it really. This one, Light Foxing, I created with my friend Nicole. She came in for a little dye session and she wanted a deep golden yellow with the light speckle, the sort of really real subtlety that I'm trying to bring. And this one was really successful, so I recreated it, and she suggested the name. She's a librarian and archivist. And light and foxing is what happens to books pages after a long time of age and wear. The sort of little freckles you see over old book pages. And I loved what that created in terms of the impressions that arise around like great age and decay through use, and memories I have of my first job working in the stacks of a college library in Oxford. I would go down into the stacks every day and catalogue all the books and see if they were duplicates, and check them through for dedications and things like that, and just spend all my days around these beautiful smelling old books. So that's where that came from.
Hi friends, I just wanted to jump on and say thank you so much for joining me for my Montreal vlog, and the interview you saw with Naomi of Humble Knit is actually a short version of a longer form interview that I did with her, which will eventually be on my website, knittightly.com. I still have to write it up and everything, but I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing it. And all of that said, thanks again for watching, and if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I always forget to say that, but if you do it every time, I really appreciate you. And if you wanted to find me elsewhere on the internet, I am at Books and Tables on both Ravelry and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!